Welcome to the Gamers Inn. Come on in and pull up a chair next to the fire. It looks like you've had a long journey. I'm your host, Jocelyn, who totally just had some weird buzz from her mic in her ears and totally threw me right off. And joining me, as always, is my co-host, Ryan. Ryan, how are you doing tonight?
Good. I'm tired.
Are you?
Yeah.
My mic is starting to do the same crazy stuff that your mic was doing. Like, I was about to go on a show yesterday. Azeroth Roundtable interviewed me again, and I'm sitting there, and they're doing their pre-show chat, and then all of a sudden it's just like, bzzz, and I was like, what the hell? And it was totally, my mic just went all like staticky, and I had to unplug it and plug it back in again, and like, it's like, oh man, I really hope this is not the beginning of the end of the Yeti.
Well, that's what I said about mine, but I think it might just have to do with like USB power or something. I don't know.
I don't know, but I hope it's pretty good going forward.
Yeah.
So how has your week been?
It was fast. I was preparing for. I have some old roommates from university who I lived with for 2 years, gaming buddies, and then we had this. The reason we're recording on a Sunday is I had them up for the weekend. That was my company. They brought their computers up. Ashley went to her parents. We rearranged the living room. We basically set up our computers.
I love that you had to kick her out. You were just like, Ashley, this weekend is not for you.
I didn't kick her out. She says to me, first of all, she buys us a giant bag of Doritos and a giant bag of M&M peanuts. And then she says, I'm going to spend the weekend at my parents. And I'm like, you can stay here. I mean, we were dating when I was living with these guys, so she knows them.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, no, I'll give you your guys' weekend. And I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't have minded having her here, but it's not like she missed anything that she truly would have wanted to see.
Right.
Like three guys in sweatpants playing video games for, as long as possible, basically. It was a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, I did see your post on Twitter. So what was going on with that? What were you playing?
So the first game we played Saturday was called Artemis Spaceship Bridge Simulator, and it's about probably the geekiest thing you could ever play. Now, landing your computers and having them in a row, like playing in the same room and making that a conscious effort to play video games as much as possible is nerdy. However, landing them up and then pretending to be a Star Trek type scenario on a spaceship is even nerdier. So we had the big TV in the front, and that was like our map. So you display the map up on the big screen in front of you.
Okay.
So it's just like on Star Trek when they have the big display screen in front. And then you have you can have up to 6 people playing different roles. So you have your captain. We had our captain, and then we had myself and another friend who I was I was the helmsman, and then later on we found out you could play multiple roles, so I was also comms. And then my other friend was weapons systems and science, I think.
Ooh,
and there's
science.
A bunch of different roles. Yeah, and each role is different. So I mean, helm is pretty self-explanatory. You navigate the ship and move it around, and then weapons as well. You just control your weapons and targeting and stuff like that. But it requires a lot of like vocal communication. So it's like, Mr. Murphy, pointing us towards 360 degrees north, and then
Wouldn't 360 degrees be like the same direction?
That was just an unfortunate choice of numbers. Okay, like I don't know, like Mr. Murphy, point us towards quadrant D6, which is a heading of 70 degrees, and you'd spin the ship and you'd control throttle, and you can go to warp speed, and I'd say like entering warp speed 4. It was really nerdy.
Oh my god, dude.
It was really bad. It was a lot of fun though, and we had some fun with it. I mean, you don't have to like be super nerdy. You could just kind of play rather than like ham it up like I was. But I mean, come on, you know me. 100 episodes later, I'm gonna ham it up.
Absolutely.
Like, oh captain, we have a fire in deck 6, and it was just. There's no real goal. The goal is to kind of go around space and kill everything, and the visuals are very minimal. I mean, like all your systems kind of like just look like Atari type vector graphics. It's like a map and some squiggly lines and stuff, and then you put the visual on like the main display, and you can kind of see your ship moving through space. And The main point of the game is just to kind of have fun and communicate. You played that Space Team game, right?
Kerbal Space Program.
No, the one you
Oh,
guys played live on
oh,
Lazily.
oh crap, what was that called? I can't remember now. But yeah, it was an iOS game.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that. I mean, you have to all work together to make sure you don't explode in space, and there's
Right.
a bunch of hostiles out there, and if you have a comms guy, you can like listen in and like, you can get missions from other ships and stuff. It's really nerdy, and we've already decided we're gonna try and get as many people in the same room to do 6 people and like have a full
Full
systems,
crew.
full crew. No, there were no red shirts. We only died a couple times, but yeah, check it out. It's Artemis Spaceship Bridge Simulator. It's even just worth watching, like,
I'm
the
sorry, I
trailer.
can't help but laugh at you. Like it's just
Don't worry. I fully realized what was happening. I was like, this is the nerdiest thing
well,
I've ever done.
it's so nerdy, and
It's
Bridge
nerdy.
Simulator just does not scream like, please play me.
Well, I mean, it's like I said, the game isn't very sophisticated or interesting. It's the mechanics of playing with your friends and all being in the same room, and you can get like a 6 pack for like $30 and you just throw it to all your friends, and the fun is being in the same room with the same guys and playing, not as opposed to actually playing the game.
This is what
Um,
I really struggle with. Like, I mean, I really want games that, like, say Joel and I can play together, but at the same time, I mean, like, almost all of my gaming friends are far, far away, like you. I can't sit in the same room and play games with you most of the time. So, I don't know. I just like anything that has this kind of mechanic sounds really cool, but I feel like I would just never be able to do it, and it wouldn't be the same, I guess, experience, or you wouldn't be able to put the same amount of skill into it. I guess it would be kind of the same as like a raid in WoW or something, because I was going to say the lag might mess with stuff, but
Well, I mean, I'm not saying you couldn't play it via vent. You certainly could, but I think it diminishes the fun. And I'm the same. I'm the same way. Like these guys, there was a 2-hour drive for each of them, and up here in Canada, like there's snow all over, and it was a pain in the butt that we had a snowstorm this weekend. And but I don't game with people in the same room very often, like maybe once or twice a year.
mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't go out and buy this game and be like, hey, we should like, pick a night and just vent and play this game. It certainly requires that sort of atmosphere and that
Mm-hmm.
environment of all being in the same room. Um, but that being said, I mean, if you were ever a fan of Star Trek, and I'm not really into Star Trek, I never really watched any of it. But I mean, if you're a hardcore Star Trek fan, this is probably the Star Trek
Oh,
game you wanted to play.
I just got it. I just
Got
got
what?
it. The whole bridge simulator thing. It's like the Captain Bridge. I was picturing like, okay, I've been watching Transformers Prime, so I have like
Right?
Space Bridge stuck in my head. So I was thinking like actually making a bridge across space, not like a spaceship bridge.
What? This whole time explaining this, you thought I was like
It's
a
like,
bridge
what?
constructor?
Yeah.
No, 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 no. Like a
Totally
spaceship,
didn't get it until like literally right now.
but everything makes sense. You're
Now
just
it
like,
makes
oh,
sense.
okay. Well, yeah. Anyways, I
And I
mean,
was
there were
like,
no bridge building.
when you were talking about like turning 360 degrees and going to quadrant blah blah, I was like, wow, this is going to be a really twisty turny bridge. Never mind.
Not, that's not
Oh,
cool. Bridge.
yeah. So most of what I've been playing so far has been a lot of 3DS stuff still. I got my third pendant in Zelda, and I picked up the Master Sword, I think.
Ooh.
Yes. So I think I've got that far. I can't remember. Like, there's so many parallels between previous Zelda titles and this Zelda title, and I mean, it's great. I'm loving it. But I forget where I am because the story is very similar to other previous Zelda stories. So when you're just going around to the three temples and picking up, like, the water pendant, the fire pendant, and the forest pendant, like, they're all the same as they were in Ocarina of Time. So I kind of get lost as to where I am and what I've done and what I haven't done and where the story might go. So, um,
Yeah, no, I mean, the first part of every Zelda game is basically collecting the three of something.
Yes,
And
yeah.
it doesn't help if they're actually the same items, you
Yeah.
know. So
So
totally,
you
yeah.
do actually, and it's the first implementation of the kind of, I guess, new mechanic where you have this central store and you can pick up whatever item you want.
Hmm.
So I actually went and did the Wind Temple before I did the Fire Mount. What's it called?
A Mount Doom?
It's not Mount Doom. That's Lord of the Rings.
Is it
Yeah.
Mount? Oh, watch it be Mount Doom. You
I
sure it's
can't
not Mount
remember.
Doom?
I'm 99% sure it's not Mount Doom.
Mount
Anyways,
Death, Mountain Death, Death
no.
Mountain,
Maybe Death Mountain. Death Mountain sounds
Hyrule
better.
Mountain, Death Mountain.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I did that, the Death Mountain one where you have to run up the side and do that. I did that second. So
Ah,
I found I don't know what order you did things in, but the Wind Temple, so much harder than
really?
yeah, way harder, way harder. And then, because I only had like 3 hearts of health, I think, in the Wind Temple, and I was dying all over the place. It was awful. And then I was like up to, I think I was able to find 4 heart containers, so I got an extra heart plus the heart I got for finishing the Wind Temple. So when I went into the Death Mountain Temple, I had like 5 hearts and like nothing even came close to killing me. It was great. I was like, ha, take that,
Yeah.
all you bad guys.
Do you remember in Zelda games when it was only 3 pieces of heart you had to collect?
Yes.
Yeah. God, it makes more sense in quarters, but
Yeah.
I know I miss those days when it's like, yeah, I got 3, a new heart, and it's like, no, wait, I gotta collect 4. And it's not a recent change, but it still gets me every time. Oh
So
man.
yeah, I'm still really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. I love the new mechanic of I can just decide wherever I want to go and it doesn't even matter. I bought my bow, which I haven't even really had to use, and I don't really like using it. It's my favorite thing in 3D Zelda, but 2D Zelda, I'm just like, oh man, I cannot aim this bow to save my life. I have the
I
same problem in Animal Crossing, is I can't tell which way I'm facing well enough to know which freaking square I'm gonna dig up.
Oh, well, I mean that comes with practice
Yeah.
with Animal Crossing, and I can't. Well, I guess there is a penalty, like if you were to like accidentally dig up a flower, I think it deletes the flower.
Probably.
Yeah, but
Stupid
I
jerk
don't know.
Animal Crossing.
Yeah, did you? You know, wait, yeah, you didn't get your stuff back.
No, I don't have my stuff back. And actually, I'm kind of upset that I didn't get a 3DS like earlier on in the summer, especially around
Mhm.
Nertacular, because I have got a couple of street passes just by being on the bus. I think I've got 3 or 4.
Okay.
But overall, I only have 4 or 5 friends, I think, on my 3DS. None of them are ever online at the same time as I am. And I mean, I do it commuting on the way to work, on the way home from work, and then usually before I go to bed. So, and then, here and there whenever I can otherwise. But most of the time, those are my big 3DS times, is on my commute and then right before I go to bed. And no one's ever online. It's so frustrating. I'm just like, I can't do anything. I can't talk to anyone. Like, there is no interaction with anyone over this platform. Like, I just,
Mhm.
no one's ever there. And I'm just like, everyone was like, oh my God, you have to get a 3DS. You have to get a 3DS. And I finally get a 3DS, and it's like, nobody's here.
I find, I mean, I never really played Animal Crossing with other people. I always found that Animal Crossing worked as a solo play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's fun to kind of walk around, but I mean, the chat is not that great. I mean, it's definitely not
Mm-hmm.
user friendly as it should be. Now, mind you, go into your friend's town is kind of neat to see what they have and what their house looks like. But other than that, there's like some shitty mini games you can play together, and
Mm-hmm.
Mm, I mean, it's definitely good to, the best way to make money, I find, is to just get all your local fruit. Local fruit only sells for, I think, um, 30 bells a pop, like 30 bells an item. But
Okay.
if you sell it at somebody else's place where it's a foreign fruit, it's 100 bells an item. So like
I'm
what
pretty
I
sure
do
I've been
is,
getting 100 bells for all my oranges.
do you have orange? Is orange is your local fruit?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I
So
also
maybe
have
it's.
lemon trees now, which I don't really know where they came from. Did you plant lemon trees in my town?
I don't think I've been to your new town.
Hmm.
Did you have anybody else in your new town?
I don't think so. Unless,
Maybe you?
I don't know. I don't think so. I haven't opened my gate. I'm trying to keep all the riffraff out.
Right. The riffraff.
Well, the last time I let somebody in, I got robbed, so.
You get robbed. I will bring your items back. We just need to figure out a time. Like, when do we want to meet?
Sure.
On the railroad tracks, and I'll just drop your bells and be like, all right, here's your bells.
Drop my bells on the railroad tracks, trying to get me run over by a train. I understand.
Can't get run over. I mean, this is an E for everyone game. I think it's actually 100 bells local and then 500 bells an item. So what I do is I'll collect all the local fruit, throw it in my storage, and they don't go bad once you've picked them up, and then keep them in the local storage until I go to somebody else's place. And then your local storage goes with you. So, like, if I were to walk through your town and then go into the train station and open up my cabinet, all my fruit would be there. And I just sell it at the shop and make, like, 1 million bells. And that's, like, 3-4 upgrades for your house. Like, yeah, the most fun you can have with Animal Crossing, in my opinion, is doing the events. So right now we have our Christmas event going on.
Yeah, so
the snow on the ground and stuff.
I noticed the snow, but I haven't actually done anything in terms of the Christmas stuff. I did notice the snowballs on the ground and stuff, and apparently you can put those together and make a snowman, which is very exciting. But other than that, yeah, I haven't done too much. I bought a couple of seasonal things. I bought a snow globe, which is very pretty. But then I went into somebody else's house because I finally went to that showcase section, and they had a Triforce, and it's like, you can buy anything in this house. And then so I was like, okay, I want to buy a Triforce. And it's like, not the Triforce. And I was like, damn it.
Have you gone to, like, buy the fortune cookies I told you about to get the Nintendo items?
There are no fortune cookies. I've looked.
Right, you have to wait until your shop upgrades.
Well, my shop is now a convenience store.
Oh, well, maybe it should be there at some point. You'll get there.
No
You'll
fortune
get there.
cookies.
If anything, when you come to pick up your bells, I can let you buy my fortune cookies.
All right, because I think I'm up to like 100 coins now, just from walk-in places.
Oh right, yeah, I guess. So yeah, also in terms of street passes and stuff, here's a tip. I don't know if you have like McDonald's anywhere close or nearby where you work, but if you bring your 3DS, if you bring a 3DS in your wallet or your purse or whatever, and bring it into a McDonald's or location and just keep it on, it'll actually street pass with a server they have there, and that will give you the last 6 people that visited that McDonald's.
Oh,
so it's essentially a street pass hub, and if you
I get off the bus right in front of a McDonald's, so you're telling me that if I just walk closer to the McDonald's, then it'll
just
pick
go
up
in,
people?
be like, I don't know, I want McNuggets or for coffee, or I don't know, McNuggets are great, and then no, better not, and then walk out. Just make it look like you're there for business, and then they won't you're just here to street pass, aren't you? I mean,
no.
Really, they won't care. And if you do that, you'll also get special offers. So if you actually you'll get what's called a spot pass at McDonald's as well. And then you'll get, this segment is brought to you by McDonald's, by the way. You'll actually get like a special Animal Crossing item. I think right now they're doing like a winter Christmas theme where you'll get like a Christmas item.
Oh, that's fun.
So yeah, it's, the game is certainly a year-long affair. It's not like Zelda where you can just sit down and play it for a week straight and you'll beat it. It's weird. It's like a living world, but it's not really that engaging.
Yeah.
It's hard to kind of convince people to buy it, but when you have like a lot of people playing it, I mean, I think if you bug people more, they might actually play it because, they'll probably want to get back into it too.
Mm-hmm. Very true. So the real reason that I wanted to make sure that I actually had you on the show and that we could actually talk this week is because I finished Gone Home.
Right.
So I started it a few weeks ago, played it for about half an hour, didn't get very far. It creeped the hell out of me because there was a thunderstorm going on at the same time. So I'm going to just say right now, if you guys have not played Gone Home, then skip ahead probably about 15 or 20 minutes because we're going to go full on spoiler mode into Gone Home. So spoilers starting in 3, 2, 1. Gone Home spoilers. So yeah, I played through like the first, I went, left when I first got into, which I think everyone has to follow the same path basically, right? because
Essentially.
the doors are locked on the right hand side when you first get into the house. So,
There might
um,
be some sequence breaks for like speed runs and stuff, I think, from
hmm.
what I recall, but you're meant to follow the same path.
Yes, yeah. So I went over to the phone and answered the phone and or didn't answer the phone, but got the voicemail with like the crying chick or whatever, and then but I wasn't quite clear how old my sister was, so I couldn't tell if it was supposed to be a girl or a like young boy, like the because I mean hysterical crying. It was really
What's
hard
the
to
girl's
tell.
name?
Sam is the girl's name, and then the friend is Lonnie, and then the childhood friend, I believe, is Daniel. So I thought at first, because I'd already seen or read something somewhere in a note or something in the foyer about Daniel, so I thought maybe that's who it was or what it was, or there was, or maybe it was a voiceover, I can't remember, but there was some reference to Daniel and how Sam didn't want to talk to him, and so I thought that maybe that's who the voicemail was from. It was really hard to tell who it was. Anyways, I got through to the dad's office and then stopped playing the first time. So I didn't get very far. I was going
Hmm.
through it so slowly because I was so scared. Like
Oh.
in the well, first of all, if I actually had arrived home from Europe at 1 o'clock in the morning and everyone of my family that I was expecting to be there was not there, and there was a weird note on the door telling me like not to come looking for them and stuff, I would probably just go find a hotel and go back in the morning and not explore the big empty house full of boxes.
Or call the cops, maybe?
One or the other, but I would definitely not be going in at 1 o'clock in the morning to a big empty house in the middle of a thunderstorm. Wouldn't happen.
Well, I mean, yeah. No, I agree with you. I probably wouldn't stay, especially since you got to remember that this house isn't familiar to the main character, right?
Mm-hmm.
They moved there while she was in Europe. Katie's the main
Katie's the
character?
main character, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a really good point. I mean, but she's just got back from Europe, so she's probably like refreshed and
Adventurous.
feeling adventurous and like I'm gonna explore this giant mansion that might be haunted.
Yeah, so I mean, there was overall, I should just say right off the top, I really enjoyed this game, and I think
Sure.
obviously we're gonna have the winter sale over Christmas on Steam. So if
Hmm.
you can pick up Gone Home, definitely do it. It was a really great game. It was I felt a much better experience than say like a Walking Dead or a Dear Esther or anything else. You know, Gone Home was there were not necessarily like puzzles to solve, but definitely like the overarching game is a big puzzle, and you really have to have a good attention to detail to understand what's going on.
Right.
Um,
Well, the subplots especially, like there's a lot of
Absolutely.
those that that was sort of the reason why a lot of people played through it and had issues with it, and then they don't realize that oh, there's like a couple subplots that I mean, if you storm through with blinders on, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna miss all the subplots because those are the
Absolutely.
ones that kind of are on the sidelines. Um,
Yeah, and
you
see,
know,
like I was so scared. Like, I mean, I was sitting here, like my palms were all sweaty. I was all jumpy, and like I could feel like my heart rate going, and like I was scared the entire time. And I knew that you had told me that there were no jump scares because that's one thing that I said.
mhm.
Like, is there anything that, and obviously there's like thunder and lightning going all the time. So every once in a while, like the room, there'll be a big crash and a flash of light because of the lightning and the thunder. But I kept expecting things to jump out at me or, like to open a door and see like an old Halloween mask or, like just stuff like that. And I mean, I kept all the lights on, I kept all the doors open. I was like walking around really slowly. I would open a door from as far back as I could and then like, walk around like this before I walked through the door and, lights on right away. And so I really took my time, and I think because I was so scared and because I took my time, I found everything. Everything.
Now, the thunder and lightning is actually really neat because it's all randomly generated,
Oh, is
and
it? It didn't
yeah,
feel like that at some points.
well, I mean, exactly. So sometimes it lines up really well. Like you'll open a door and enter a dark hallway,
And
and
all
then
of a
all of
sudden
a
it's
sudden
like
you're, oh, and then it'll light up. And that happened to me a few times. And really, the game does not address sort of. I mean, it addresses the whole: is it haunted? Is it not? Because they are like looking for ghosts, but they're
mm-hmm.
kids, right? So the house isn't haunted, but it's certainly just a big dark house, and they kind of like set you up to think it's haunted because
Yeah.
it's a video game. Of
It is
course
a
there's going to
video
be some
game,
sort
yeah.
of protagonist, right? And really there just turns out to not be this, it's a giant mystery. But the other thing too is that there's an audio clip that kind of, says to it's your little sister talking about you. It's like, and basically calling to attention that you leave lights on and leave doors open.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really cool design, moment where they're like, we know people are not going to shut these doors because, like, it's not fun
It
to
helped.
meticulously close and
It
stuff
really
like that.
helped me remember where I had been as well.
Mhm.
If the lights are on and the door was open, then I knew that I had been there. But yeah, I think it's on the second floor, which going up that staircase was so difficult. Realizing that I had finished the first floor and I had to go upstairs, I was just
Yeah.
like, oh my God, like I don't want to go. I want to run. Like I want to leave right now. And I was just like, well, if I leave, I'll never know the story. Like just suck it up. It's a freaking game, Jocelyn. Like, come on.
I mean, yeah, I don't know about, yeah, we may have talked about this before, but I mean, I grew up in a big house, and when it's dark, and it's an older house too, so when it's dark and when there's a storm out, I can relate because that light just doesn't seem to be in the perfect spot to just go from room to room fully lit.
Yeah.
There's always that light that you have to creep into the dark to turn
Oh my
on.
God, yeah. Anytime that I saw like a cord hanging from the ceiling, I was like, God damn it, you're gonna make me go right into the middle of this dark room and you're gonna jump out at me. Like,
Yeah. Now
oh,
there's one jump scare. Did it get you?
that's what everyone's. Well, the jump scare that I saw, because I obviously did some reading after I finished playing the game, and they were saying that there was some jump scare where you pick up a crucifix.
Right. Yep.
Okay, I didn't. Okay, you find this like creepy tunnel with a crucifix. Who touches the crucifix? I didn't touch the freaking crucifix. F that noise.
It's got writing on it.
I don't
It
care.
says like get out of the house or
Oh yeah,
something.
no, I definitely completely totally missed that. I was like, whoa, well that is a whole lot of shit that I don't want to be involved in, so I'm just gonna keep walking.
Well, there's a lot of shit in that game that a lot of people probably wouldn't want to be involved in. I
Well,
mean,
true, very true.
like that cross, I can't remember. It was either, I think it might have been like the father's, and he would like hide in these crawl spaces and use them to kind of get around the house. Because
The
that was his
father.
uncle's house, right?
Yes, no, I
Mm.
did know it was his uncle's house. I
Yeah,
didn't.
they established that pretty well.
Yeah, I didn't get that. And maybe it's because was there like an audio clip tied to the crucifix or something?
I don't think so,
Oh, because
but they
I
do. It's been a while since I played it, but
right.
they do. I want to go through it again. They have a developer commentary now,
Oh,
um,
interesting.
which would be very cool because the guy who wrote it, um, like, yeah, was really active on Twitter, after development, and that he was talking about his motivations and
Mm-hmm.
what the game is about, and all the subplots and things people got, things people missed. So the developer commentary probably really interesting and a cool experience to you know get around to eventually over the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
But the best part about this game is that it's just a different experience. It's nice to sit down and play something that isn't just another shooter or MMO, or Zelda or Mario game. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a different thing. And
And it
I
was
assume you had the same feelings about it, right?
absolutely, and it was really really interesting because it was so different, but you played through the whole thing assuming it was the same.
Yeah.
Like I mean, there were points where I thought there were gonna be jump scares. I thought that there was gonna be some kind of intruder in the house. I thought that that my dad had gone crazy and shot my mom, or that I was gonna find my sister dead in the attic, and like there were so many points in the game where I was just like, this is going to go horribly, horribly wrong. And then at the end, when nothing really goes horribly, horribly wrong, you're kind of like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't end the game feeling let down or upset or disappointed or happy or, like, I just I felt complete.
Well, yeah,
Like they wrapped everything up and it was done and that was good.
it was a happy ending, really. I mean, everything sort of just was very, clean and concise, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody had gotten to a point where their characters had faced their demons and decided to work with other people to solve the problems. I mean, it's just all the subplots are kind of tied up, and
Mm-hmm.
there really be no reason. That's the other thing too, is that the first thing you think about when you beat the game is like, it's like I can't wait for the inevitable sequel if this does well, and in this one's it's kind of like
Yeah, no.
you don't need a sequel. I would love the people who made this game to make another game,
Right.
similar to this, but don't really need a sequel.
Yeah, no, I thought it wrapped everything up really well. There were some definite creepy points in the game. Like I said, for me, it was going up going up the stairs to the second floor for the first time was really really scary to me. Like leaving that whole big empty floor behind me was difficult, and going up into the unknown and putting that extra bit of space between me and the front door was really really hard for me.
Hmm.
And then there was the moment obviously when you go up into the attic, but the moment that you are, because you kind of in this old house there's all these different corridors and stuff, and going down into the basement for the first time was really tough. Basically anytime I had to change floors,
Hmm.
but when you go through the passage, one of the back passageways, and you come up and you realize that the room it opens into is your room, and you're just like, wait, what? Like, holy crap. Like, this is where I was supposed to be sleeping, and there's the bed I was supposed to be sleeping in, and it's literally like 4 feet away from this creepy, creepy tunnel that, like, oh my god, I just like, ugh, like goosebumps.
Did you find the nudie magazines?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which made
You,
me
you
laugh.
you find the one and it's like, "Oh, dad." And
Yes.
then you find the other one and it's like, maybe these are my sisters. It's
Oh, wait, I
really.
totally didn't get, I don't think I found the other one.
Yeah, there's another one in your sister's locker, and
Oh,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah. Okay,
it's a
no, I did
similar
that. Yeah,
like.
yeah, I did see that. And it was like,
Yeah.
oh, Sam. Yeah, I did see
Yeah,
that.
and
Yeah.
it's there's a lot of things like that. Like you're going through, you're encouraged to explore every nook and cranny. So you're
Mm-hmm.
going through your parents' bedroom, and I think this is the best example of how nosy the main character is, or rather how nosy you are, thinking, "Oh, there's going to be another story beat around here." You're going through your parents' like drawers in their bedroom, and you
Yes.
find a condom. It's like, "Oh God," "Oh no, 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 no."
Yeah.
And there's another moment like that where you find like a love letter that the sister wrote, and it's you experience what the Katie, because you pick up the note and you start to read it, and then it's on a timer, the system's on a timer, and you realize, the character realizes, oh, this is a very steamy love letter that my younger sisters wrote to Lonnie, and you drop it,
Yeah.
and every time you try to pick it up again, the game just says, nope, not reading it, not gonna read that note, nope, no, and
Yeah.
you eventually have to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's just little things like that. And did you get all the subplots, I guess, is the next
Yeah,
logical
I
step?
did. I mean, the father, I think, was the at least on the surface, the most obvious. Kind of failed writer, goes through, has like frustrations around his failures, and then that puts stress on the marriage, and then like eventually he gets a new interest in his works, and then starts working on a new book. So on the surface his story is very, I guess, obvious. Like, you kind of have that idea about what's going on with the father right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Right from when you find like boxes and boxes and boxes of his book, and you're just like, well, if all the books are here, clearly they're not sold.
You can't even give them away.
Yeah. So, and then, obviously, of course, tied to his story and the starting of the failing of the marriage is his mom's or her mom's story,
Hmm.
which was also really interesting. Where she is extremely successful in her job. She's kind of doing everything that she can to keep her husband interested, and it's not working. And eventually, and when I say eventually, I mean like from the time he published his first book, and then when they started to have problems, I mean, it seemed to be the letter I found from the new publisher said, you know, it had been 15 years or something like that. So the very, very long process of this marriage falling apart. It wasn't overnight sort of thing.
No.
Yeah. And then so she has a kind of romantic interest at work sort of thing, and then finds out he's engaged and just kind of like decides to make it work with her husband. So, I mean, that's, again, a very kind of predictable sort of a story. But then you have the story of the uncle, and I think that that's really where Gone Home kind of shines, because even with when you're trying to figure out what's going on with Sam and where she might be, it's a fairly obvious progression of what's going on. Like, I wasn't surprised by anything at all what was going on with Sam. The only surprise I felt with Sam was that when I didn't find her dead in the attic, I was totally expecting it was some kind of like murder suicide or like something terrible had happened to my sister. And so
I mean, teenagers are dramatic.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that would have been more cliche to me.
Yes.
Like, I prefer a happy ending because happy endings make sense.
Yeah.
Because when you're given the option between murder suicide and a happy ending, I think as a human being I would move towards the path of the happy ending.
Yeah,
even if it's doomed to fail, you know.
The reason that I felt so strongly that there was going to be some kind of suicide, whether it was Lonnie or whether it was Sam or both of them or whatever, was the wording on the note saying, like, don't try to find me. Because my way of thinking, if you're like, the very first note you see when you're walking in the door is from your sister to you saying, don't try to find me. So to me, reading that "don't try to find me" note says to me, like, I don't want you to be the one to find my body or something like that, you know? Because if I'm Sam and I'm happy, my sister has known I'm gay for a really long time. So it's not really a surprise to Katie.
Well,
so
I don't think she knew.
Well, one of the audio clips said, you know, when you're in the dining room and when she talks about telling her parents, and how she thought her parents were going to react and how they had such a crazy negative reaction. And then in that audio clip, she says something along the lines of, you know, like, I've known since I was 4 or 5 or whatever. And she's like, come on, Katie, like, you've known for years too. Like, this isn't a surprise to anyone except apparently mom and dad, right?
Oh, the phase thing.
The phase thing. So yeah, I mean, like, given that, whether it had actually been said out loud or not, like, both the girls knew the situation, what was going on, both the sisters knew. So I mean, like, in that situation, if I had a sister and she was gay and we had this open relationship and we, you know, like, knew all this stuff about each other, then if I was running away or whatever, then I would tell her to come find me, you know? Like, I wouldn't say explicitly, don't come find me. I'd be like, oh, well, my sister is supportive, so therefore, you know, so I found the wording of the first note is what really set the tone for the whole game, and why I found the ending so unexpected. But yeah, so sorry, back to the uncle, which I think is really, I definitely, I got it, but I didn't get it at the same time. I didn't necessarily arrive at the same place where the developers were aiming for, I guess. What happened was I went through, I picked up all the stuff about how we used to own the pharmacy. I found the safe. I found the markings on the wall. Apparently I missed, there was like because I don't think I turned on the light, or the light was broken at the end of the hall or something. So apparently there was some rocking horse or something.
There's a toy and the light is broken, and it's just, that's the creepiest part of the game, is just finding this toy and your mind.
See, I missed it.
Your mind drifts, you know? Like, the best part about this game is that every one of these little stories causes your mind to kind of picture what they're not showing you. And not picture it, you know, not like in a gross way, but just kind of think about it. Like, you know, it's like, it's unsettling.
Yeah.
You know?
But I mean, like, I found the letter to the dad from the uncle leaving him the house, which I guess letter will, one way or the other. Sure. I found, like, all the newspaper clippings, the letters from the writer's dad telling him how, you know, he can do better and all this kind of stuff. And definitely, I think I found everything except for that toy. And what I got out of all of that was a drug addiction, not an abuse situation. And then I read an article after I played Gone Home that kind of outlined like what little things pointed to all of this, and it really hinged on the toy. It hinged on the toy and hinged on the soda machine or whatever to bring in the kids that he installed. That's what the newspaper article was about.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it kind of hinged on those two pieces of evidence, and one of the developers actually commented on the story and was like, I'm glad somebody got it. Like, I'm glad somebody picked up on it. And then they were talking about, there was a whole thing about going back in time and fixing what happened in 1963, which, you know, in the book was the JFK assassination, but the markings on the wall also stopped in 1963. And so it seemed like the writer, the dad, had this like obsession with 1963 and all of this kind of stuff. And, you know, after I read that article and thought back on it, I was like, okay, because what you find in the safe is, first of all, he runs a pharmacy in town, and then he's got a safe full of morphine. And in the safe, there's also a letter talking about his transgressions and how he sold the pharmacy to remove the temptation. So what I came out of it with was the drug addiction, not the abuse. How did you feel after going through Gone Home? Did you pick up on it right away?
For the most part, you know that something had happened between the uncle, like, and the father, and you know something's going on, and there's a lot of talk about, you know, the weird house on the hill that all the kids say, oh, you live in the ghost house, and that sort of like reinforces the ghost theory.
Right.
But then as you continue going, you start to realize that it's not ghosts, it was the uncle who was like touching these kids, and it wasn't just the father. And, you know, the apology letter, and I think there was a letter from his mother as well, or no, it was the uncle writing to his sister begging for forgiveness.
Yeah.
And they basically shunned this man, and it turned him into this hermit on the hill kind of thing, and he had to live with these sins for the rest of his life. And the only way he felt that he could get that guilt away was to leave the house. And I pretty much gathered, like, you know, my mind with that storyline went immediately to the darkest thoughts, and everything sort of just
I feel
reinforced that.
Yeah, I feel like I was trying to almost give him the benefit of the doubt, or just like the abuse situation almost seemed like not necessarily too obvious, but I felt like
It's pretty dark.
it is really dark, and I didn't want to go in assuming that, so I kept finding all the things in the story that maybe would point me in another direction, so all the evidence against it as opposed to all the evidence for it. Again, just because I was just like, no, they can't really mean this. Like, okay, we already have a main character who may or may not be committing suicide, who is in a teenage lesbian relationship that her parents don't, you know, like, aren't on board with. And I was just like, this all can't be in one game. Like, no one would put all of this in one video game.
Right. Well, I mean, the biggest kicker about the uncle and the father is that I think the relationship issues start when they move back to the house, because he's unable to perform his husbandly duties when he's constantly reminded of these he put it behind him, then he moves back into the house thinking, oh, I'll be fine, I put that behind me, but it resurfaces and causes these issues. And I think that starts the friction between the husband and the wife.
Oh, I totally, and I mean, again, I wasn't paying attention that closely to dates, aside from some of the firing type, I guess not firing, but when the wife got hired places, and when she got promoted and stuff like that, and when she met the new guy, and all these kind of things. I felt
there's explicit, like, mentions about, like, oh, we moved into the new house, and I've noticed that my husband's kind of like, he's not paying attention
in the letters to
me.
the friend.
Yeah, there's a lot of those letters that you'll find around the house.
Yeah.
And they were interesting to read, because you're basically watching this, marriage fall apart from the
eyes of an outside friend. Yeah, because it's not even the letters that you find, obviously, are not the letters that she sent. You're seeing the friend's response to the letters,
Yeah.
And, so you can only kind of guess at what Katie's mom may or may not have said or done or felt or experienced based on the responses of the friend. So, I mean, it was definitely everything that was presented to you was presented in a really interesting way, in a way that would have been presented to you had you had just gone to the house. The only time that there was kind of some extra info, I guess, was the audio logs from your sister that kind of gave a little bit more information than what you would have found, because it's like basically Sam's diary to her sister while her sister's away for a year. So overall, I mean, it was a fabulous game. It was a fabulous experience. I'm like, I really, really, really enjoyed it. And I urge everybody, I think we're going to stop talking about spoilers now, because it's been about 20-25 minutes and I don't want anyone to get really, really spoiled. So I think we're going to stop now. And just urge everyone that when the winter sale happens and Gone Home goes on sale, like it is worth it even at full price. But if you can grab it on sale, absolutely, it's an experience that I think every gamer should have.
Yeah, of course, agree 100%.
All right, so Ryan and I really appreciate your continued support of our show, along with the support of our sponsor, Doghouse Systems. You can use the code TheGamersIn to double your RAM when you purchase a new gaming rig. Head on over to doghousesystems.com and get your order on, which brings us to Quickfire News.
Fable Anniversary has a release date. One of the Gamers In most anticipated Xbox 360 games of 2014 is just around the corner. Last week, Lionhead Studios confirmed that Fable Anniversary would release on February 4th in North America, followed by Asia and Europe a few days later. Get your chicken kicking boots on, heroes. Come on now.
The NSA is spying on your WoW. New documents have been released by Edward Snowden stating that the NSA has placed agents in World of Warcraft, as well as having the ability to listen in on Xbox Live conversations. An analyst apparently referred to the games in a report as offering, quote-unquote, a target-rich communications network where potential threats could, quote-unquote, hide in plain sight. Both Blizzard and Microsoft have since issued statements saying that they have no knowledge of the NSA listening in, and that if it did occur, it was not done with the consent of either company.
So weird.
So weird.
That explains that night elf female that kept following me. Update on 38 Studios auction. An auction was held for 38 Studios assets last week, which garnered $320,000 for the state of Rhode Island. Not nearly enough. This included the sale of Rise of Legends and Rise of Nations IPs, as well as the trademark for Big Huge Games. However, no buyer info was released. And don't worry, this story will be back, as the Copernicus, which is the unreleased MMO, and Helios, which is the social platform, still haven't been sold due to unacceptable offers.
Best versus fastest, the next-gen sales figures. Sony is the best and Microsoft is the fastest, according to sales figures released for the month of November. Each company is spinning it in their own way. Sony sold more consoles overall in November at 1.2 million in 16 days, where Microsoft sold more consoles per day at 900,000 over 9 days. So one is best and one is fast. Nintendo still lags behind, though, with 3DS sales at a promising 77K. Or, whoops, 770K. I dropped a zero there. But yes, no, the 3DS is actually doing pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, but the Wii U is not.
No, the Wii U, I think it was like they didn't release actual numbers, but they were like, we sold 300% more than October. It's like, yeah, but you didn't sell very much in October.
Yeah, Nintendo's weird. And you know what? If you say one is best as one is fast and then say ladies, then you really know which one is the best.
Just have to add ladies on the end.
Yeah, I'm not even going to explain it. I'm just going to let that one simmer.
Speaking of ladies, if you love ladies, you can head over to slashloot.com. That was a terrible plug.
If you love ladies, I love ladies, and I listen to the Gamers In.
You can head on over to slashloot.com, where you can pick up a Ladies of Leet t-shirt, as well as a Gamers In t-shirt, or any of the other t-shirts from all of our friends over at slashloot.com, the Frog Pants Network, and the A-Move Network. There's also Angry Chicken shirts. So head on over and see what they've got over at slashloot.com. That brings us to our topic of the week, and we are talking about Blizzard and patches everywhere. We decided to pull this out of our regular, what we've been playing this week because both Hearthstone and WoW got really big patches and had some significant changes to actually what's happening in those games. So in Hearthstone, we got a brand new ladder system, and in WoW, we got an in-game store. So I think we'll kick it off with Hearthstone, and I'm not going to go into too much detail because obviously all of my opinions on Hearthstone and the new ladder system will be going live tomorrow night on The Angry Chicken. But Ryan, you said you got some Hearthstone time in. Did you get a chance to play on the new ladder?
I did, and I think it's probably the first time I threw my weight into the ranked play. I usually stay away from ranked play.
I thought you were going to say you threw your mouse. I was like, no. I thought we were done with controller rage.
Hearthstone, I haven't really talked a lot about it. I haven't really gotten into it too hardcore, but sometimes it's a game where you're really doing well, and then other times you just get shit cards, and the other guy gets great cards, and you lose constantly.
Yes.
Like, you just feel like they always have a card to best you, and it's luck of the draw, really. But I finally dove into the ladder system and started to win some games. I think I'm the Squire or something. I'm not a leper anymore.
Oh, good.
So one above leper.
All right. The Angry Chicken is the lowest rank, and then the leper gnome is the next one, and then there's some kind of Squire person apparently. So that would be, I guess, level 23.
Yes, there's 25 ranks.
Yeah, so I got up as high as 18. So I was 1 star 18, but I've been kind of, because you can start to lose stars when you lose once you get up that high. Well, that high. I use the term very loosely.
When do you start losing? Because it's not 23.
The first time that I started losing stars was 18, because what happened was I lost probably a good 5 or 6 games at the Angry Chicken level. And I think that, everyone was making fun of us for calling our podcast The Angry Chicken and then wondering how we felt being the lowest rank in Hearthstone. And actually, I mean, given my experience, I started playing the day after the patch. I think that The Angry Chicken is actually probably the hardest rank in the ranking system, only because your MMR and your rank reset every month. So when you are at level 25, you are not playing against bad players. You are playing against people, especially earlier in the month, you're playing against people trying to get their rank. So you literally never have any idea who's actually on the other side of that Angry Chicken rank. You could be playing against Trump, you could be playing against Dills, you could be playing against Garrett, me, or someone who's never ever played the game before. There's this whole range of people you could possibly come up against at the Angry Chicken rank. So, I mean, I found it so difficult. And then as soon as I got out of the Angry Chicken rank and into 24, then all the people who are don't belong down in the bottom, 5 or 10 ranks have gone on their winning streaks and are straight out of there. But everyone has to do this Angry Chicken rank. So
that's a good point.
Yeah, so as soon as I got into the Leper Gnome rank, I did the same thing. I went on a winning streak, went all the way up to 18 in about 6 games. I just won 6 straight, got up to about 18, and then lost a couple. And now I think I'm just kind of going up and down and up and down from 3-star Shield Master? No, the Draenei guy who's worth 0 attack and 4 health. Yeah, he's the taunt guy. And then again, I can't remember because I keep forgetting. I'm an Argent something is level 19. But anyways, 3-star level 20, 1-star level 19. I'm fluctuating in between the two of those. And it's getting kind of frustrating. And I know Garrett had said this too, that he and I are both experiencing the same thing, that in and around the level 20 to level 18 is all mages. So I'm winning when I go up against anything that isn't a mage. As soon as I go up against a mage, then they just have these crazy burn down decks. And if I don't beat them in 4 turns or 5 turns, then I'm just toast. Yeah. So
now, so are mages on top in terms of the nerf pile, or?
Well, I don't know. I think I think everyone just has to try to figure out how to get past them. I think the big problem is that spells ignore taunt. So I can have all the taunt in the world, which would normally be a counter to something like a Murloc deck or one turn kill hunter deck, and obviously you can't really do those anymore because of the nerf to Unleash the Hounds. But back in the day, lots and lots of taunt was how you counter those really aggressive decks. But with mages and spells being able to ignore taunt, there's really nothing you can do to block these big, huge to your face spells. So again, I said I wasn't going to go way into this.
Sorry, no, that's my fault. I mean, we don't talk about Hearthstone on the show, and I mean, there might be people who should be listening to the Angry Chicken. You could use that one if you want. But I think, like, if you want to get hardcore into Hearthstone and really understand the cards and understand how to play, like, the best advice they can give you on the Angry Chicken. I'm tired. I literally got like 3 hours of sleep each night. But yeah, like, the best advice is just do arena. I think I've said this before, but it's like, save your gold, do arena. You get a pack eventually when you finish your streak anyways. Always get a pack.
Yeah.
Which I found is the best advice. And arena is actually fun because you get cards that you might not see ever again, you know?
And you may not necessarily have in your, like, obviously you can always build any card that's available in the game. You can save up your dust and craft that card. So there's
I haven't done that. I haven't done crafting yet. Is it you literally pick a card you want to build and you build it?
Yeah.
It's not random. It's not
no,
like build a
no.
legendary. Oh.
Yeah, no, you have your book, and it's like a book of all the cards available in the game, and then you have a certain amount of dust that you earn through either arena or disenchanting cards you don't want. So any cards that you get in packs, you can disenchant, and so they give you a certain amount based on their rarity and based on whether they're gold or regular. And then, so you disenchant the cards, you get the dust, and then you can put that towards whatever card you want. So if you think the class that you want to play is, say, a shaman, then you can disenchant all your cards that aren't shaman or neutral, and then craft all of the shaman cards that you're missing. So, and you can choose which shaman cards you want to craft. So it's not random at all. The only random is when you open a pack to get your 5 cards, what cards those are is completely random. There's literally nothing you can do to influence what cards you get out of opening up a pack.
Okay, so can you craft a gold card? Or you have to get that through the pack?
You can craft a gold card. They cost, I want to say, twice, if not 3 times as much as a regular card of the same, like a regular version of the same card. But I'm not 100% sure where or how to do it because I've never done it because it's kind of a waste.
Right, because it's just visual. Okay, the other comment I have is that kudos to Blizzard for letting you do that because a lesser company would make you put money into the system to get those cards at random. I'm looking at you, Mass Effect. I mean, come on. I mean,
So,
you can't buy the gun you want. You have to get it through the boosters, right?
Yeah.
That's really cool of them to allow you to build any card.
Yeah.
I thought it was random.
No, and that's why, I mean, I don't really believe that it's pay to win. I mean, I guess in theory you could pay hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and anything that you don't actually get randomly, then you could craft so that you would have a complete deck. But even then, the game itself is so balanced that even if you did that to have every single card available to you, it's still not an auto win button. So in the end, sorry.
No, so why do people buy card packs then?
Well, people buy card packs because
it's fun. Don't get me wrong.
It's well, for instance, I did. I spent the $50 and got the 40 packs, and I did that to kind of flesh out my library quickly, and because I thought Hearthstone was worth the money. It's a game that obviously I do the podcast about, but I must put a good 10 hours into every week. I really, really enjoy it. I play it all the time. Blizzard has done a great job, and I really appreciate all the animation and artwork that goes into it, especially since dating Joel and him being an artist. I really have a new appreciation for the amount of time and skill that goes into creating these cards. Even though they're not like 3D models and, they don't shoot arrows or whatever, like just all the animation and work that goes into all of those paintings is just, it's phenomenal. So I really think I want to reward Blizzard and the people that created Hearthstone for doing this for me. So that was my thinking behind actually buying cards, but you don't have to. You can play in play mode with just basic cards. They've done a really good job of balance, and I firmly believe that you can build a solid deck with basic cards. But yeah, you can play in play mode and do all the daily quests and get gold for the daily quests. and then go into the arena. And then for 150 gold, you're guaranteed a pack of cards and some dust and some gold. So overall, it's usually best to go into arena because you get the exposure to the cards and you get the pack at the end, as opposed to just going and straight up buying a pack for 100 gold. So overall, that's how I would do it. But
You know, I'm a firm believer in supporting developers when it comes to this stuff. So if a game, and you know, I'm sure I will purchase cards along the way as well as I get further
oh, I
into it.
know you will.
I made pretty big leaps and bounds over the weekend with this game. I think I hit that winning streak, and I think once you hit that winning streak, you realize how awesome the game is.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to kind of sit down and hit that streak before you kind of get Hearthstone, I think.
Yeah. I usually let myself, arena runs notwithstanding, but when I'm playing in play mode, I usually let myself, if I lose 3 times, I walk away. I'm just like, nope, I'm not in the mindset right now. I'm not doing well. This is just going to frustrate me. So 3 losses and I'm out. Which is actually the same as arena when you actually really think about it, is that when you lose 3 times, your arena run is over. So you can win up to 12 or lose up to 3, and then that's the end of your arena run. So I think that's a really good, it's a good way for me to moderate my time and not spend too much time in Hearthstone. And it's a good way to keep my frustration level from making me want to murder people.
That's good.
Yeah, Jocelyn not murdering people is a plus.
That's awesome. I need to get more time in, and I actually got a friend of mine to start playing as well. So he just had a beta key sitting in his inbox, and I'm like, dude, people would kill for that.
Yeah. Jeez.
I mean, jeez, man.
So your experience on the ladder, have you noticed any classes that you're really not doing well against, or have you just not played enough ladder to really get a feel for it?
I don't know. I mean, I'll have a game where I get my ass kicked by a mage, and then I'll have a game where I kick that mage's ass. To me, it really feels, back and forth. I'm sure I'll get to a point where I start to pick up on things where I'm like, oh, I'm finding that mages are really kicking butt. But I haven't even settled on a class that I thoroughly enjoy. I'm kind of using the quest to jump back and forth to actually build out the basic cards, because I haven't got everyone to level 10 yet. So,
and that's fair enough, because I mean, even me, I've been playing pretty solid since, well, I guess we started Angry Chicken 10 weeks ago. I had the beta key for 2 weeks before we started the show, so it's been, I guess, about 3 months now that I've been playing Hearthstone, which seems crazy, but so it's been about 12 or 13 weeks that I've been playing. And I still haven't settled on a class. I enjoyed the Hunter, but I don't like what they've done with the nerfs, especially given how powerful mages are. A lot of my cards now have like 1 health, which, a mage, again, with their hero power can just, kill anything that's 1 health without even having to think about it. So, and even then they also have that arcane something, that is just an AoE that does 1 damage to all minions. So even the 2 health beasts are within, a 1 mana spell and then a 2 mana hero power. So it's a little bit frustrating to play as a hunter. So I haven't played that in a long time. And then I haven't really settled in. I have a paladin deck that's been winning me some games in the ladder. But again, it's probably, there's some cards in there that I should swap out. But I'm only playing paladin, not necessarily because I enjoy it, but because I seem to be able to win with it. So I still haven't settled on a class that I would actually say is like my main deck.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, takes a while. So the other big patch that came down this week was 5.4.2. Which the biggest change that came down in that patch, at least as far as we're concerned, is the addition of the in-game store. So Ryan, I know you've canceled your subscription to WoW, right?
Well, I mean, it's not active, but yeah, I didn't even know. I knew of the in-game store. I didn't know they were adding it so soon. So.
Yeah, so the in-game store is the Battle.net real money store that is for in-game mounts and pets. So it's really, really interesting. It's a great implementation, I think. I think the only way they could have made it even more integrated into the actual game would have been if you went and talked to, say, an innkeeper, and the innkeeper had the option to go to the store. But what it is it's a really small button up in your, or I guess down if you're using the regular Blizzard UI, in the like mini menu bar, with like your character, your achievements, your quest log, all those buttons. There's now a button that's just the little Warcraft logo. and you just click it and it opens up like a quest looking type window right in game, and it just has all of the different mounts and pets you can buy, and you just click on them and it sends them right to your inventory. If your inventory is full, it sends them to you through the mail. So super easy to use. Really blends well into the existing WoW environment. I don't think it takes anything away from the game at all. I know, Ryan, you haven't actually had any experience with the in-game store. I haven't actually purchased anything. All the purchasing I've just read articles about, but I've been so good. I promise I'm not buying anything for myself before Christmas. I promise. But
this is interesting. So can you gift from within the shop as well, or? That's
an excellent question. I'm not 100% sure. I think you can buy it and then mail it, because they're not soulbound or countbound or anything like that, I don't think. There might be some changes to that. Yeah, I'm not sure. I've never actually bought. I know you get codes because I've had pets given to me, but I've never actually purchased a pet through the Battle.net store, so I don't know how all of that stuff works. But I would think that if they can mail it to you, then you would then be able to mail it to a friend.
Yeah. Now, this is just the pets and mounts. I mean, they talked about the in-game store having like boosts as well.
For right
but that
now,
doesn't seem to be available.
No, right now it's just the mounts and pets. I don't think that Blizzard has actually said they're going to implement anything like that, with the exception. There is the boost to 90 that's coming with Warlords of Draenor, where everyone that buys the expansion gets an automatic character level to 90. Right. And so since they're offering that with the purchase of the expansion, I would be absolutely, completely and utterly shocked if they didn't offer that with just as, like maybe $5, $10, whatever dollars in the Battle.net store. But as of right now, it's purely cosmetic stuff. But the helms are not available. The there's like the fire horns and the ice skull, and I can't remember what the third one is, that cowl or something. It's dark reddish looking, I think.
Yeah.
So the helms are not available.
Well, I mean, it's
pets.
a good step in the right direction for the game. I mean, I know it looks very familiar. I mean, having played Guild Wars, there is that cosmetic shop that you can open up in game, and it's really popular in that game.
I absolutely hate going to the Battle.net store. I think it's great that everything's available, because you can also see the 3D models of things, and it's right in the game, and I think it's a really, really good implementation. Plus everything is 50% off right now, so it's that extra incentive. I think it's the pricing that they should be anyway. I think pets should be $5 and mounts should be $10. I think that $10 and $25 is way too much money. But yeah, so everything's 50% off right now, and that's in the in-game store, which again, I think is a great implementation, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else they are going to bring us in the in-game WoW store. I played so much WoW today, it was insane. I went and I was trying to get an achievement, the raiding with leashes achievement, so I went and did raids that I never did when I was like actually those levels, so I went and did a whole bunch of stuff at like level 60, and so I ran 4 different raids all by myself today. It was fun. Very, very fun. Awesome. Yeah. So, but it took me I started playing. I'm like, I'm just going to play for like an hour and, see how it goes. And then I literally played from like 9:30 this morning until like about 5 o'clock. And then I was like, oh, so that's what
Sundays are for.
Yeah, really.
No, I'm being serious. You essentially did what I did yesterday.
Yes.
I played video games all day.
It's been such a nice experience, this whole having weekends off thing. Yeah. Really cool. So I think that pretty much does it for this week on The Gamers Inn. You can visit us on the web at gamersinpodcast.com. You can find us on AMove TV, along with the other fabulous podcasts, including StarCast, Campaign Roundtable, Biggest Fan, AMove Radio, and The Angry Chicken. You can follow us on Twitter. You can find me, Jocelyn, at GIS Gamer. Ryan is at R. Murphy, and don't forget to follow the show over at The Gamers Inn. The video versions of all our episodes can be found on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Jocelyn Moffat. You can also find us on Facebook and Google+. If you'd like to email the show and let us know what you thought about Gone Home, you can do so at info@gamersinpodcast.com. Before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out and thank you to Greg Moffat, who created our music. You can find him on Twitter @SoundsInfluence. We'd also like to thank Joel Duggan, who does all of our graphic work. You can find him and everything he does at joelduggan.com. So thanks for staying at the Gamers Inn, and remember to tune in next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.